In the headlines, Dominicans have their say on new legislation governing rape within marriage. Cabinet takes action to minimize the impact of vagrancy on tourism, and the Geothermal Resources Development Act of 2016 to guide the way for proper management of geothermal energy. I am Kenny Williams with the Channel 5 News, back with the details after this. First up, amendments to the Sexual Offences Act of 1998 have been made into law. Idona Jean-Baptiste has that story.
Despite certain concerns by opposition parliamentarians on the amended marital rape legislation, that aspect of the Sexual Offences Bill still stood. Now that it's passed, it will allow a husband or wife to take action legally against their spouse for having sexual intercourse without their consent, no matter the condition. This is one of the concerns that opposition parliamentarian Isaac Baptiste raised during the final debate of amendments to the Sex Offences Act.
I am saying right now, Madam Speaker, the way the legislation is written, it is not the right way to do it. And I'm suggesting that we need to review that situation, Madam Speaker. Yes, you have the right to say no, but I am saying that in a situation like this, we cannot treat the relationship between husband and wife just as we'll treat the relationship between two ordinary couples. It is different, and we must recognize it is different, and we must provide the opportunity for there to be reconciliation, for there to be consultation, and there to be counseling, and therefore people can recognize that maybe I acted harshly, maybe I can get forgiveness. And yes, we need to legislate against rape. We need to legislate against unlawful sexual action in the family. However, I'm saying the provisos that exist in the legislation, we should not remove it.
The old provisos or conditions that existed for rape within marriage to be challenged before the amendments was in the instance of divorce, separation, or an order for the husband not to have sexual interference with his wife. Prime Minister Skerrit earlier in the debate had disagreed that repealing these conditions would lead to a breakdown in marriages, since according to him, measures had to be taken to address sexual intercourse without consent, even in marriage. We took to the streets to hear the public's views on the marital rape legislation.
This is an opportunity for women who is feeling that they are not secure with their husband or in a position to take advantage of someone that is probably neglecting them or not paying school fees or not treating them as they want to be treated, and they will take that opportunity to do mischief. I just think it's ridiculous, and they should just get rid of that. That don't make no sense at all.
I think it's absolutely crazy. Any bona fide man that is married to a woman will not enjoy intimate relations if he has to force his wife, unless he's a psycho, unless he's some kind of pervert. This thing has to be a mutual agreement, and you have to be both willing to participate for it to, have that level of enjoyment. So the idea that you want to make a law to forbid the one or two perverts that maybe in our society does not make sense. I think they're going overboard with that, and they ought to just stay out of the people's marriage bed.
Wife and a husband can use that. Like if I know you are sour, I can use that as an excuse, so you can go to prison, and it can be vice versa. You can use that very strongly like that. You did not rape me, but I can use it. That's my views on that.
I don't think there should be rape. This is just the understanding between, because that's what it is. Again, it takes two to make a quarrel. So there should be an understanding. That's how I see it.
In other developments, Cabinet has taken some level of action to address a long-standing ill which has posed a threat to the island's tourism image. Idona Jean-Baptiste explains.
Discussions to find a solution to vagrancy have been ongoing as far back as 5 years. A national subcommittee of Ministry of Health and Tourism officials has been looking at ways the issue can be dealt with, and the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association has worked with them on that. Actually, there's a proposal with recommendations on addressing vagrancy, which was initially presented to Cabinet in 2013. However, the plan had to be revisited to clarify some aspects before it could be approved. Consultant psychiatrist Dr. Griffin Benjamin and his team from the Acute Psychiatric Unit have helped prepare that white paper. Tourism Minister Senator Robert Tong told Parliament on Monday night there's been a breakthrough in that area. He was at the time presenting the Tourism Standards and Regulations Amendment Act for it to be approved and passed.
Cabinet has also just approved an action plan to address the issue of vagrancy. The plan will include the hiring of a consultant to undertake a strategy with the aim of developing a comprehensive and sustainable approach to the daily care. But right now we will proceed with what we call a day program to ensure that we can remove or move vagrants off the street. But very importantly, this cannot be done by ourselves. Everybody has a social responsibility, especially the families of these individuals, to help us to take care of them.
Government intends on partnering with Wisdom to Know, a rehabilitation program run by Bunty Liverpool, to have him assist with accommodation for vagrants at nights. Idona John Baptist, Channel 5 News.
More news now. An official within the Ministry of Kalinago Affairs is calling for the greater incorporation of the Kalinago culture into Dominica's local Creole customs. Dominica is currently in the peak of its Creole celebrations and placing great emphasis on the Franco-Creole aspect of its heritage. However, Development Officer in the Ministry of Kalinago Affairs says Dominicans need to take stock of the contribution of the Kalinago heritage to Dominica's culture.
What has happened for many years is that we have discounted on the island the importance of Kalinago heritage. Even while we remember names like Kalibishi, Kolihu, Kulibishi, all these places are Kalinago names, people have not added the value of the Kalinago heritage to the discussion. Even the everyday life of people, we see that aspects of Dominican heritage is deeply entrenched in Kalinago heritage because we follow the similar farming methods. We have very small communities, even after emancipation. The free villages evolved similarly like the Kalinago settlements. We have people doing a lot of subsistence agriculture. We have people using the sea and fishing. So we cannot at all discount the importance of Kalinago heritage.
Frederick is calling for the incorporation of Kalinago history in the school's curriculum to have young people more informed on the country's history.
Sure, we should show more respect to Kalinago history by having it inculcated primarily into the curriculum, because the way it is right now is that if a teacher or a school feels a certain sense of affinity to the culture, they would explore the possibilities of the influence of the culture on the people. It's nothing really set in the curriculum. So from a policy perspective, the Kalinago culture has to be integrated into the curriculum. There can't be a Creole culture without Kalinago experiences. Because when we talk about the meals itself, when we talk about Creole food or Creolized food, we see that the methods of cooking the foods are actually Kalinago. So we see a lot of preservation of meat through smoking. We see a lot of roast meats and fish.
The development officer is also lamenting that the Kalinago community has not been properly recognized for its significant contribution to various aspects of Dominican culture.
And as a period of our history, we moved to a particular area with rugged terrain, make it difficult for scientific use of agriculture. We see that our arts and crafts have been exploited because we get very small prices for unique arts and crafts. And even the tourism product, we see we get the bitter end of the stick because while we are portrayed as on the Dominican space as being the last indigenous persons on the Caribbean islands in an organized setting, we see that the benefits don't filter into the community. The Dominican population has to take it on themselves to understand that heritage and to inculcate it and do not separate the Creole from the Kalinago, because the Kalinago is actually the base from which all of this evolved over a period of time.
Firefighters around the region have been challenged to put a contingent together to help the hurricane-ravaged countries of Haiti and the Bahamas. Andrea Louis has that story.
The call came from Deputy Fire Chief Farley Rivera when he addressed the closing ceremony of the Caribbean Association of Firefighters Biennial Games. Rivera says Dominica received tremendous help from firefighters around the region post-Tropical Storm Erica last year, and it is time to do the same for the sister countries impacted by Hurricane Matthew.
Firefighters need to remain together. I said remain together. not to get together, because firefighters are always sticking together with one another. And so we must continue to remain together so that we can become stronger. And when we become stronger, we can provide more. The region is awaiting our service. August last year, August and September was our time in Dominica. My understanding is that Haiti and Bahamas need our services as well. Can we put a team together to assist Haiti and Bahamas? I say yes. It takes a lot, but with strength, we can do anything.
Meantime, President of the Caribbean Association of Firefighters says it is one of the duties of firefighters to assist where needed, and Dominica has bounced back well after the tropical storm.
Given the ravages, the destruction caused by tropical storm or Hurricane Erika to the island of Dominica, we saw it fit then that we would come in to see what the rebuilding process is. And I must say, I am quite pleased that Dominica has adjusted and the island, to me, is doing very well. In keeping with our objectives is the true spirit of what we embody in the Caribbean Association of Firefighters. Our calling is one of firefighting, and that's the one that brings us together.
The Caribbean Association of Firefighters, which was founded in 2001, will hold its next executive meeting in St. Kitts next year. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
Coming up, with Dominicans coming back home for independence, one local organization here believes it's a perfect opportunity to promote buying local. Thanks for staying with us. The approval and passing of the Geothermal Resources Development Act of 2016 will guide the way for proper management of geothermal energy. Government, however, is advancing geothermal energy development without financial backing from France Agency, which had initially partnered with it to build a geothermal power plant. $60 million have been invested since the exploration of geothermal resource in 2011. A means of financing has been put together, according to the Prime Minister, through grants, state funds and concessionary loans.
And what we're saying with the geothermal project, Madam Speaker, is that the government will go it alone with regards to the small plant. As you know, we have been negotiating with different groups of people. That did not come through. And I think, in retrospect, Madam Speaker, because they had other considerations. They had other considerations. They had other considerations, like any partnership you were discussing. They may have other considerations. And there were some issues among themselves, and they figure it might be in their interest not to proceed with the project. But what this did, Madam Speaker, is that it gave us a better opportunity for the government and people of Dominica to not only own the resource, Madam Speaker, but to own entirely the geothermal plant of Dominica.
Skerrit says the idea is to allow for cheaper electricity bills for Dominicans through geothermal energy. The plan is for government to generate energy and sell to Domlec in order for the company to distribute to customers.
The government of Dominica will take all the risk associated with the construction of the plant. Once the plant is constructed and we are selling to the grid, we will now invite Dominicans, because it is our intention, Madam Speaker, to make available to the Dominican public about 50% of the company, if not 100%. To make a minimum, Madam Speaker, of 50% available by way of shares in that company to the Dominican public.
Meantime, Skerrit is encouraging the private sector to explore other forms of renewable energy.
This is why what we have done is to allow private homeowners and private businesses to pursue wind, if it's wind you wish to pursue solar, if you wish to pursue solar. We've set the framework, the legal framework, Madam Speaker, the policy framework for this to happen. So we're not here in Parliament to say, Madam Speaker, that it is geothermal or nothing. This is not what we're saying. What we're saying, Madam Speaker, is this, based on advice received from independent experts and local experts, Geothermal is the best option for the country to pursue at this time because it will be more reliable than the other sources of renewable energy.
Prime Minister Skerrit has expressed hope that the excitement which fills the air this independence season will overflow into zeal for working together to rebuild Dominica in the aftermath of Tropical Storm Erica. In his message marking 38 years since Dominica's political independence from Britain, the Prime Minister noted that a house divided against itself cannot stand, making a case for collective action in rebuilding the country. The Prime Minister goes on to point out that Dominicans have time and time again shown a capacity to overcome adversity by transforming it into opportunity. He has also extended a warm and friendly welcome to those returning home this time of year, for which he says Dominica is gaining an enviable reputation. Police Chief Daniel Caban is promising to develop a more robust policy to ensure police officers are held responsible for their use of state property. Andrea Louis explains.
The police chief was speaking at the handing over ceremony of 8 new vehicles to Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force recently. During the ceremony, the Minister for Justice called on the senior level police to ensure that proper use is made of the newest addition to the fleet of vehicles.
I expect that the Commissioner of Police will develop a policy guideline so that to ensure that the vehicles are properly cared for. Because I've been getting a number of complaints from the public. And what I would like to see, and I want to say it again, and what the Dominican public would like to see, is for the police officers to care for the vehicles better. And there are some ways, just my advice, that can be done. Is by taking your time to drive, especially if you're not in a situation where you're responding to any emergency. Another reason I'm saying that is that because too often we see police vehicles all over the place. And there's absolutely no reason, if you're not attached to a plainclothes section, to be driving a police vehicle with police on it in plainclothes.
Police Chief Daniel Caban said he would put a policy in place to hold officers accountable for their use of police vehicles.
I can assure you that there is a policy in place. The policy needs to be developed, and it will be developed robustly. I will put a robust policy in place. And I'm just asking that the powers that be, when people fall short, that they support me to deal with them accordingly. That is how we will learn. When we deal with you appropriately, when you do not live up to the expectations. Take care of government resources, motor vehicles, the men that we supervise, the police stations that we live in, the laptops and the computers and the cell phone that they give us.
Caban noted that too often supervisors take on a code of silence when unfortunate incidents happen, and this practice must be stopped.
Too often, we as supervisors, our first inclination is to execute a code of silence or to cover up. And in doing so, we fail to realize that we hurt ourselves, we hurt the organization, and we hurt the people that we are paid to serve. And so having said so, I hope you all get the message.
The donation of 8 vehicles came at a cost of $986,000 and is the second donation of vehicles to the police force this year. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
And the National Development Foundation of Dominica, NDFD, reminding citizens to buy and consume locally grown produce this independence season, as this could impact positively on the economy. NDFD Executive Director Cletus Joseph says the idea behind events such as last week's Creole in the Street is to generate economic activity by showcasing local products and services.
In terms of economics, in terms of health, reduction of non-communicable diseases, which we know is a pending threat on our society's health. The NDFD is pleased to play such a role in bringing everyone together as we seek to foster national development, and we look forward to continuing in that thrust.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the National Development Foundation of Dominica Limited, Oliver Henderson, said, "We are the ones responsible for improving our products."
One of the reasons we at NDFD really are hosting this is for you to network with your colleagues, with persons, to demonstrate your good customer service skills, to create new market for yourselves, and above all, to ensure that you have what we want you to have, which is growth. We want you, the small enterprises, to grow.
The ministry with responsibility for small business development will soon implement partnerships with the organizations of American states to provide a support system for local manufacturers. That's news, your sports highlights. Next. First up, after requiring another 228 runs to win and ending day 4 on 171, the Windies were bowled out for 322, losing to Pakistan by 133 runs on Tuesday. Craig Brathwaite supported with 67 and Shai Hope 41. Yasir Shah went through the Windies batting lineup, picking up 6 for 124 for Pakistan. Pakistan now leads the 3-match series 2-0. The final scores: Pakistan 452 and 227 for 2 declared, West Indies 224 and 322. Meantime, West Indies captain Jason Holder says, despite the loss against Pakistan, there has been some improvements in the team's performance.
We're showing signs of improvement. I think it was the four finish total here in the UAE. So that's good signs for us. Unfortunately, we weren't able to start the game as well as we'd like. I felt on the first day's play, we didn't get the wickets obviously, but I think they scored a little bit too many runs on the first day. And then obviously when we batted, we didn't bat well in the first innings. Credit must go to Jermaine Blackwood. I thought he played well. He makes defence with attack. I know he was very selective. I thought Shai Hope, was very composed as well, and he showed promise. It's just a situation and just clustering some more big partnerships, especially initially in the innings. Especially when we're up against the wall chasing some big totals. But having said that, there are other areas that we can improve on in terms of fielding, and obviously, get some more wickets up front, probably new ball, and make things easier for us coming on the latter half of the game. He notes consistent execution of plans during games as what could help West Indies' chances moving forward. That's what good teams do. We've got to get to that stage where we go from our planning phase, into the execution phase, and execute on a consistent basis. I think that's where we fall down, in our cricket. We don't have the consistency as we would like. We come 1 or 2 days and we do it, show that we can do it, but it's just without the consistency. Moving forward, we just try to stress that in the dressing room, give guys the confidence to perform their role, and we hope that they can execute. The third test match is carded for Sunday. On the football scene, defending champions in the under-15 Castlebrew Secondary went down to St. Mary's Academy 13-1 in the Secondary Schools Football Championships on Tuesday. Odell Laville scored 3, Shamar Phillip and Terrell set 2, with single goals from Therese John Baptist, Tamaya Williams, Bri Evans, Ethan Nicholas, Quentin Moise, and Kimar Phillip. Jason Joseph scored for CBSS. Still in the under-15, Isaiah Thomas defeated Pierre Charles Secondary 8-0. Felix Anselm found the back of the nets 4 times, while Noah Vidal came in with 2, Kian Defoe 1, and Edson Dennis 1. And over at Portersville, Dominica State College bested Goodwill Secondary 3-0. Dylan Augustine scored 2, and Joshua DeRaverier 1. Meantime, the competition continues on Wednesday with 3 under-17 matches. In a doubleheader at Portersville, Northeast Comprehensive will take on Pierre Charles Secondary at 2, to be followed by St. Mary's Academy versus Castlebrew Secondary at 3:30. Over at Portsmouth, it will be a clash of the St. John's Academy and Goodwill Secondary Schools at 2:30 p.m. Back with more cricket, we can tell you that West Indies A defeated the Sri Lankan side by 165 runs in the first ODI on Tuesday. The Windies took first knock and made 267 for 6. Kyle Hope had a game high of 81, while Jason Mohammed came in with 58 and Rovman Powell 55. Set 268 for victory, Sri Lanka A was bowled out for 102 in 32.3 overs. No Sri Lankan batsman scored more than 24 runs. John Ross Jagisar picked up 4 for 29 and Runsford beaten 3 for 26. The second ODI is carded for Thursday.
More sports now as the days wind down to the start of the PCL Regional 4-day competition. The Windward Volcanoes squad is in preparation mode for their opening match against TNT Red Force on November 11. This according to Volcanoes coach Ian Allen.
Would have done a yo-yo test on 2 occasions, and I was very pleased with the result from the second one, having given the result from the first one. And since then we have continued our training. We had a little challenge with the weather condition, but we managed to stay focused, in terms of what we really want to achieve this season. We went on a 2-week tour in Antigua. We won 1 game out of the 4 2020. But I think, coming out of that, you still give the guys an opportunity to, to practice on some good surface, to, apply the skills in terms of competition and matches. In terms of the 4-day game, I was particularly pleased, with the way we applied ourselves. During the game, we had 4 centuries, Tyrone, Devon Smith, Sunil Lambris, and Shane Shillingford. And Shane obviously did well with the ball as well, picking up 6 wickets and the other guys. So it was a good opportunity for the guys and for me to see how the guys apply themselves in the longer version.
He says a change to the middle order and a different approach could make a difference for the team this cricket season.
When we look back at last season, obviously we didn't bat long enough. Our scoring rate was good, but when you look back at the amount of overs we spent at the crease, that wasn't enough to win matches. So I think that we would have done our post-mortem and decided that we definitely need to spend a lot of time in the wicket, so that obviously we could give the opposition a run for it. And over the years, our openers have been doing pretty well first. That is Devon Smith and Tyrone Theophile. But I think that for the past couple of seasons, our middle order haven't been doing well for us. So we decided to bring in Nasing Dinoran from Guyana, who would have had about 11 centuries in regional cricket and about either 4th or 5th most runs so far. So we're looking forward for him to come and stabilize the middle order, along with other guys who would have played last year in Kavem Hodge and Sunil Ambris. We're looking to stabilize the middle order along with the captain.
The WICB PCL Digital Sports Max Regional 4-day competition begins on November 11. That's all the sporting highlights for now. We'll see you in the next one. Your weather forecast is next.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to your weather. I'll be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rock Career. Today, a tropical wave was a dominant feature which affected weather conditions across the Eastern Caribbean. It produced occasional cloudy skies across the islands of the Lesser Antilles and resulted in scattered showers across the Eastern Caribbean. The weather tonight is expected to be partly cloudy to cloudy with scattered showers and possible isolated thunderstorms. Tomorrow, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with showers and possible isolated thunderstorms is expected. Residents in areas prone to flooding, landslides, and falling rocks are asked to exercise caution. The marine conditions tomorrow will be slight to moderate. Waves are expected to peak up to 5 feet. Small craft operators and seabathers exercise some caution, please. Let's take a look now at the weather for the next 3 days. Well, those of you planning activities, no sunny skies are forecasted. Rather, occasional cloudy skies with some showers and possible isolated thunderstorms is forecasted for the next 3 days. The weather for the rest of the Caribbean tomorrow, well, a low-level trough will linger in the area from tomorrow. Therefore, generally cloudy skies with some showers and isolated thunderstorms can be expected for most of the islands tomorrow. On the international scene, beautiful clear skies is expected for the city of New York, cloudy skies for Miami, overcast skies with some fog for the city of London, thunderstorm activity expected for Caracas, and what is forecasted for Beijing is overcast skies with some rain. The sunrise tomorrow at 6 a.m. and was set at 5:39 p.m. Please remember, we are still in the hurricane season. To keep abreast with your weather information, please visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next weather broadcast. Thank you.
To end the news, the headlines again. Dominicans have their say on new legislation governing rape within marriage. Plus, Cabinet takes action to minimize the impact of vagrancy on tourism, and the Geothermal Resources Development Act of 2016 to guide the way for proper management of geothermal energy. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNews25thOct2k16. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Kenny Williams, and to all our viewers around the world, we thank you for watching. Please join us tomorrow.